सेवक स्वामी सेवक ओम गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ 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 दीननाथ दीनबन्धु दीननाथ दीनबन्धु दिव्यस्वरूप सद्गुरुनाथ दिव्यस्वरूप सद्गुरुनाथ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ गुरुनाथ स्वामी
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Together we will chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 21 to 30.
ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालम् क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्ममनुप्रपन्नाः गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् येऽप्यन्यदेवता भक्ताः यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्त्यविधिपूर्वकम् अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु मामभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पितॄन्यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्याः यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्त्युपहृतम् अश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम् शुभाशुभफलैरेवम् मोक्ष्यसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम् अपि चेत् सुदुराचारः भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः
Okay, so Aditi, Hari Om heard the recording of yesterday's class, reflected on it, would like to attempt to answer Nine's question if you are okay with it. Aditi, no, we can't take that up. Otherwise, we'll go off on a full tangent. Everybody will then have something to say, and I don't even know if Naeem is here, but you can discuss it with him separately if you so desire. So is anybody new in the class today? Nobody for the first time, right? Okay,
No,
so we are doing.
I am new, ma'am.
Who? Sarla.
Yeah, Sarla.
Oh, okay. So you're new in this sense. This is your first class, or you have been
It's first class.
very first class. Okay, welcome to the class.
Yeah.
Today we are doing.
Thank you.
We are doing the geometric center of the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone else is new?
Yeah, I'm new, Sonal.
Sonal.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very good. Now I can see Mr. and Mrs. Chopra. Hari Om. Y'all are not new, so I'm not counting y'all. And okay, so so we are now at the geographical center of the Bhagavad Gita, and you can well imagine that this must be a very important verse because it's been placed in the middle. It has for us the entire spiritual sadhana, plus it has for us what is the consequence of the spiritual sadhana. So what is the entire spiritual sadhana based on? It's based on one single idea. That's it. You only have to know this much and you're doing spiritual sadhana. No means execute it somehow. So that is all that spiritual sadhana is. And what is that one thing? Before you understand what is that one thing, as far as the spiritual world is concerned, not that there is such a thing as the spiritual world, but in terms of spiritual sadhana, but you have to understand it first in terms of material life itself. What happens in a material life? How does a person achieve anything? How does that even happen? Now you can give many responses to that. You'll say, oh, he was maybe born in very fortunate circumstances, or he had but what can I say? He was very lucky, or he had great talents and abilities, or like thousands of things you could say, right? He had a mentor, he had a godfather, whatever, you could say thousands of things. But people have had all these things and still not succeeded, still not achieved a lot. we are from a relative, all of us here are on a relatively good socio-economic background. We did not have to put up with any, huge deprivations, that most of us. So what differentiates us from others with our background, with our abilities, with our everything, who have managed to become huge achievers? What is that thing that differentiates us? So what makes an achiever at the end of the day, no matter what other things a person may have or may not have, the one thing an achiever has is ananya chinta. Ananya chinta means anya, other, ananya, no other, no other thought. That means a person who has the capacity to set up a goal and to chase it single-pointedly. This is true in the material life, isn't it? In material things, you will not gain anything unless you're able to set a goal and focus on it single-pointedly. Like Sachin, okay, let's say he has amazing talent, but one day he plays cricket, one day he goes and plays hockey, third day he goes and plays table tennis. He's not going to become a great. How does he get? I mean, besides his normal talent, his talent, whatever he's capable of, the more he can focus single-pointedly on whatever it is that he is supposed to do, the more likely he is to achieve that thing. This is how it is in the material sense. And so it is exactly the same in the spiritual sense. Ananya chinta, no other thought. You want to achieve spiritual growth, then that should be your single pointed focus. You cannot say, I'm going to do this also and I'm going to do that also. This is the one thing you're going to fix your whole attention on. And what does it mean you fix your whole attention on it? It doesn't mean you're thinking of it all the time. What does it really mean?
Shraddha, dedication to that thing.
Pinky, all that you did was repeat what I just said. This is known as
Begging the question.
excellent. Very good. Very good. Yeah, you can identify it as a big step forward. Huge step forward. Okay, so who else wants to try? When you say it is ananya chinta, no other thought, it doesn't mean that you're simply not thinking of anything else. My God, what is this?
Is it at the back of your mind always?
One second.
Like the car example?
Yes, very good. Pavitraishwarapa Vidyasagar. Why was I invited to this meeting? I have no idea. I'm hoping to get a job at Vedanta, which is why I'm attending this meeting. I have no idea. You're probably on our mailing list. But this is a class on Gita, so please log off because there aren't any jobs here, I'm afraid. So if you misunderstood for some reason, it's not happening here. So please log off if you're not interested in the class. You're most welcome to stay if you'd like to. So Akhila, you too. So Akhila, your action should be dedicated towards the goal, focus, consistency. Yes, you all are not incorrect. All are right, actually. That what it means, Ananya Chinta, is whenever you take any decision for an action, whenever you take any decision for that action, you take it, your yardstick for that action is the goal that you have set for yourself. So, how did you decide to come to this class? Why did you decide to come to this class? If you wanted your spiritual growth. Therefore, you came here. If you wanted anything else out of it, then you have not followed Ananya Chinta with reference to spirituality. You may want money or you may want a job. And you came here because you wanted a job. So then your Ananya Chinta is on the job. But if you keep that Ananya Chinta on the job, you will get. Whatever you keep your mind on, whatever you keep your decisions based on, you will get that thing. This is a great thing of life. Absolutely great thing, isn't it? I will get whatever I want. And while that sounds very good to me now, I have to understand that my wanting is a very poor yardstick of choosing things. With knowledge, I should choose, not out of what I like. To those persons who worship me, ye jana ananya chintayanta. Ye jana, those janaha, those people, ananyaha chintayantaha. All those in Sanskrit can see that all this is matching. Mom, me. What if one wants more than one goal? Well, then you'll get half of each goal, I guess. This is the whole, whole problem with life. We don't know what we want. Ye bhi chahiye, wo bhi chahiye, wo bhi chahiye, wo bhi chahiye. Which is fine. Nobody can tell you how many goals to have. But you have to understand that the more goals you choose, the more unfocused your attention is, and the less you will achieve in each one of them. So you're free to choose whatever you want, but your achievement will be proportional to the singularity of your attention. So those people who worship me, parupasate, upasate, to do upasana, to do worship of something, we have to be very, very clear what it means to do upasana of something. Does anyone remember when you say I worship something, what does it mean? What does the word worship mean?
Just that single thing.
Sorry?
Doing just that single thing, whatever.
Yeah, worship refers to your action. Your actions are the effort which you're putting it is towards what? So you set yourself, what are the steps you have? First, you set yourself a goal. Then you put your efforts towards that goal. What is this? The third thing, anything interrupting your path to the goal, you say no, thank you. So many people will offer you so many things in life. No, thank you. उसने मुझे ये किया, उसने मुझे वो दिया, therefore my life has changed. ऐसे नहीं होता. Means होता है, that is why we don't reach where we want to go. But no, I have decided where I'm going. I am taking control of my life. I am the final authority on my life. And I will decide where I'm going. Though I cannot see most faces, I can still understand that most people are like, no, this is so not true. I never decided my life. This one decided and that one decided. So, well, somebody will decide for you if you don't decide for yourself. It is that simple. So, to those people who worship me, thinking of nothing else, to those ever seeking union, Nityabhyuktana, ever seeking union, never moving from that spot, putting all the effort. Only please understand this carefully, okay? So suppose I say I want to realize the self. And I say, since I want to realize the self, I will do nothing in my life but try to realize the self. Then I'm being rather foolish. Because if I don't take care of my body, then I will not even be able to sit in the seat of meditation. How am I going to reach the self? If I don't do any karma, then my desires are not going to reduce. So how am I going to reach the self? if I don't purify my emotions as I transact in the world, how am I going to reach the self? So when you hear this, I will do only things to reach the self. I don't know what you all are conceiving in your mind as what needs to be done. What needs to be done is you decide all the things that need to be done and do those things. Obviously, very importantly, you have to take care of your body. You have to do karma. You have to do bhakti. You have to do jnana. You have to earn money also, because if you don't earn money and you reach poverty, then what service will you do? Because you need the money to survive. Somebody will have to give you money to survive. So you will need money too. Then if you are a family kind of person, you need a family too, because you get totally frustrated, you don't have a family, then you're in a big mess again. So I hope you're clear on what it means that you work only for the self. It means that whatever you chose to do, you did it because according to you, it will take you to the self. So you say, oh, that man went to Las Vegas. That means he's not on the spiritual path. Can you say that?
No.
No, because we don't know why he went there. We just cannot say anything. That is why freedom on the spiritual path is considered to be the most important thing. All growth takes place in freedom. We are not here to sit in judgment on other people, to say what they should have done or not done, because we really don't know that path. How could we know? Only they know. That means there would be thousands of the path. Yes, of course. Who is this iPhone? Who is iPhone? Rajneesh Sharma. Okay, yes, of course, Rajneesh. There are thousands of paths. There are billions of ways. There are actually, how many? There are 7 billion ways to reach the self. Because every human being can reach the self, right? And there are 7 billion of us. So we can all reach the self. And each one will carve his own path. And that is why it's so difficult to answer the question that what is that one thing you need to do on the spiritual path? It takes genius to answer that question. He has answered that question. What is that one thing? No matter what your paths be, no matter what you choose to do, one thing will never change. What is that one thing that will never change?
Your focus on the self.
Yes. Ananya Chinta will not change, no matter what you choose to do. So that's the brilliance actually of Sanatana Dharma. They're able to find out what is the one same thing that everybody will have to do. Everybody, whether they appreciate it or not, they will have to do it. Whether they've heard of Vedanta and Gita or not, they will have to do it. Otherwise, they will not reach. That one thing is Ananya Chinta. No other thought. So he says, if you achieve these 3 things, what are the 3 things you're supposed to achieve? What happened? Gone again. What are the 3 things we have to achieve?
Self-care, our actions, and emotion, transaction. Emotions.
What happened? Nobody is listening. What are the 3 steps you have to do?
Your actions.
Set a goal, make your efforts, and discard whatever interrupts your goal. Achievement.
Very good, Tinky. See, Tinky is making great progress. Now she's absolutely learning focus. 3 things you have to do. First thing, set your goal. Second thing, worship. That means all your actions are towards that goal. Number 3, anything interrupting, you say, no, thank you. You can do anything you want in this world. But if it interrupts your path to the goal, you say, no, thank you. Somebody says, I offer you $1 billion. And if it interrupts your path to the goal, you say, no, thank you. 3 steps. And if you do this, then what is his promise to you? If you do this, you will get yoga and kshema. Now, here's the problem. This is one of the most famous verses, obviously, from the Gita. And this phrase is also one of the most famous ones. LIC used it as their motto. We made up our own motto, by the way, for the university and for the new trust. We didn't take a quotation, we made one up. But more on that later. So, what is this yoga and shame? Yoga. How do you understand these terms? There are various ways in which scholars have spoken about this term. One is they say yoga and kshema means I will give you what you don't have and I will preserve what you have, because that's what most people go to the temple and the church and the mosque to do. So the first way scholars have interpreted this line is I'll give you what you don't have and I will preserve what you do have. Yoga, I will join you to what you don't have, and I will kshema, I will preserve what you have. The second way people have interpreted this is I will give you spiritual and material success. All of this is true, right? If you follow this, you will get both spiritual as well as material success. How can you not get it? So I will give you yoga and kshema. And then, but these are what we consider lesser interpretations. The interpretation usually we use is yoga means, so we've got three interpretations, okay? The first two are given as scholastic interpretations. One more, which seems to be a more subtle and more, what should I say, philosophically satisfying interpretation is this. Yoga means I will keep the pursuit going. See, he said, I will give you yoga and kshema, right? This is his promise to us. So we can take yoga to mean I will keep your pursuit going. Because the self is the enlivening principle, right? So he doesn't actually do anything for us. We have to do these things for ourselves. Nobody is doing anything for you. In your life, the buck stops there. So the first interpretation, the first word, yoga, means I will keep your pursuit going. Now, you all are all been studying for some time. Can you tell us how you think the self will keep the pursuit going? Anyone knows? How will the self help you to keep you on the spiritual path? You know that the self or God doesn't keep you there. If he could keep people there, he'd keep everybody, right? So why won't he keep everybody? He's not keeping anyone. How do we understand this? That he will give us yoga means he will give us the continuity of the pursuit.
Jangiji, is it that the pursuit won't end until one reaches the self?
Yes, but that is independently true that you won't stop the pursuit till you reach the self. But why does the self say, I'm going to keep the pursuit going?
Knowledge.
What do you mean, knowledge?
I mean, keep learning about the progress or path, acquiring knowledge.
But God says, I'm keeping it going.
In your pursuit, the enlivening principle is that.
Okay, but why does he say that I'm keeping the pursuit going? That doesn't even sound like an enlivening principle. That sounds like his sort of conscious involvement in the whole thing, isn't it? Something.
You become the self?
Yeah, when you reach there. You identify with the self. Akila, that's the end of the journey. So,
The
Chitti
self
Babu will give you right frame of mind. He will not give you right frame of mind.
Janki-ji, on the pursuit of happiness, you'll ultimately keep on pursuing it because you're looking out for ultimate happiness. So that keeps you going.
Okay, very good. I hope you understood what he did in this verse. He said, if you do these three things, if you have unswerving attention, if you have full effort, and if you refuse to do anything else, I will give you yoga. Means what happens? Suppose you were to actually do these three things, what would happen? Your mind, what would happen? Suppose you actually did these three things, what do you think will happen?
Very happy state of mind.
Yes. Okay, in any field, if you were to do these three things, what would happen?
Success,
You will success in every field.
Okay, before you do that,
satisfaction, peace.
You will
sorry.
peace of
Peace
mind.
and satisfaction and peace.
Well, the first, yes, you're all right. But the most important thing that will happen is that that desire will be strengthened. Deepak, very good. You will build a strong desire. Yes, you will build a strong desire. Imagine if you're single pointedly thinking of something, what will actually happen to you? That desire will become strong and stronger, stronger and stronger. And a strong desire means you have identified happiness with that thing. So once you started on that path, that pursuit of happiness will keep that pursuit consistent. You please start it. It's true for everything. Even if you went out in search of money, if you said, I want to become a billionaire or something, and you kept on and on with it, you become have a very strong desire. So why are you going to have that desire more and more? Because you've associated it with money, with happiness now. So whatever you make, if your intellect sets a goal, it makes the mind go down that path. And when the mind goes down that path, the interest and enthusiasm of the mind to achieve that thing keeps going. Is somebody unmuted?
No, Janki ji, after answering, they forget to go back on mute.
So is that clear? So I grant you yoga. Now I grant you Kshema. What is Kshema? Kshema means, we will take over here to mean realization. So if you were to pursue the path in the way that we have spoken about, I will keep that path consistent and I will give you therefore the end, which is simple common sense, right? But if you keep that path consistent, you will reach the end, you will reach Kshema. So in other words, it's not like he is giving anything, but the natural laws will take over. That's why he says throughout in chapter 5, if you remember, he said, Uddharedat Atmanat Atmanam. Raise yourself by yourself. For you alone are your friend, and you alone are your enemy. Do it yourself. Don't wait for somebody to come to do it for you. Take the decision and execute the action, and refuse to let anything come on the way. So are you clear about yoga and shame? First way of interpreting it is, I will give you what you don't have and preserve what you have. Second way is, I will give you spiritual and material success. But the way we are going to use it is, we will take yoga to mean that consistency on the path. It comes out of the self because of the pursuit of happiness, and ultimate happiness is the self. And when you pursue the path like that, you will get Kshema, which we will interpret as supreme bliss or self-realization. Is that fine? Is that clear to everybody? Yes, Aditi. Oh, you're saying it's fine. Okay. Okay. Everyone is clear. Is anybody not clear? You, whoever wants to say anything, switch on your video so that I can see you, and then you say something, whatever you want. All right, so that's it then. That's our verse 23. All good, all clear? So let's just say it again, because it's an important verse. He has given us 3 things to do. Number 1, tell me,
Set your goal.
set your goal. Now, anybody other than Aditi? Number 2,
All
And
actions
for-
towards that goal.
very good. Now, anybody else? Number 3,
Avoid diversion.
avoid diversion. Yes, if anything comes on your path that prevents you from reaching your goal, you say no to that. Otherwise, you're free to do everything. Luckily for us in this spiritual path, nobody stops us from anything. It's such a personal path, anybody can do anything. Aditi wants to wear t-shirts, she'll wear t-shirts, and Tinky wants to wear salwar kameez, and she will wear salwar kameez, and she had some foreigners, then they may have another choice of clothes. None of our business, right? They have to do what they have to do. We have to do what we have to do. The very, very strong concept in the Indian scriptures, which is each one has his own dharma, and each one is expected to follow their own dharma. We are not supposed to tell them what they should be doing and what they should not be doing. This is one of the terrible things on the spiritual path, that the moment you start the spiritual path, you start becoming very prescriptive to what other people should be doing. Oh, he shouldn't be doing that. She shouldn't be doing that. And what gave us the right to say any of these things? So anyone is free to do whatever they want, knowing fully well that whatever they do will get their consequences. So that's their business, not our business. Our business is that we can do whatever we want as long as it does not interrupt the path to the goal. And if you do that, then the self will give you consistency on the path, meaning the mind's desire will go stronger. And since it's associated with happiness, and happiness, ultimate happiness is the self, the mind will not give up till it reaches the end. We want more and more and more. That's the nature of the mind. So you're using the nature of the mind. And if you continue like that, you reach Kshema, which is realization. All good? Okay, then let's go to verse 23. Dipyanya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha depi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. Dipyanya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha depi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. All those who came new for the first time today, are y'all okay?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Anyone else okay? You're okay, right? If you don't understand, please ask. Okay, so now remember what he told us last time. He said, fix your goal, put in all your efforts, and if something comes to interrupt your path, please say no to it. Okay, 3 steps. Then you will reach consistency, and you will reach realization. So now what does he say? Let us see. Ye api anya devataha bhaktaha. Those who are bhaktahas. Yeah, sure, Janki. Most welcome whenever you join. It is the Mother Gita. Mother Gita means infinite patience. You come to Gita, you leave the Gita, come back to the Gita. Gita has absolutely nothing to say. So welcome. Yepyanya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha. Anvitaha. Anvitaha means endowed with shraddha. Yepyanya devata bhaktaha. Ye api anya devataha bhaktaha. They are bhaktas of anya devatas, of other gods. Yajante shraddhayanvitaha. They yajante, they worship with shraddha. Those who are worshipping other gods, but with shraddha. Tepi mam eva kaunteya yajante. They also are worshipping me alone. Though avidhi purvakam, though contrary to vidhi or contrary to traditional practice. Please listen to this verse very, very carefully, because this is the kind of verse that leads itself to terrible, terrible misunderstandings and misinterpretations. So listen carefully. Ye. Ye means those people. Ye is like they. Okay, so it's very simple in Sanskrit. Ye and they. Ye means they. They who? They who do what? They worship other gods. Now, who are these other gods that he is talking about? These other gods are limited goals. Either you're worshipping self, which means you're pursuing the path of realization. And if you're not pursuing the path of realization, it means you are pursuing what? We have only two options in this world.
Limited goals.
Very good. You have only two options in this world. You either pursue the spiritual path, or you ask for something from the world. Now, when you're asking for something from the world, you can ask for something personal, selfish, self-centered. You can also ask for something unselfish. You can say, I want to be rich, or I want to be very knowledgeable, or I want to be, I don't know what, anything. So you can ask for anything from the world. That's your choice. As a human being, you get the right to choose anything you want. As a human being, it is your duty to find out what is that thing worth asking for. It is your right to pursue anything, but it is your duty to educate yourself and find out what is that thing that is worth pursuing. If you don't know the answer to this question, you have wasted a human life. You've wasted a human life means what? It means you had the opportunity to make a choice and you chose not to make that choice sensibly. That way you lost a human life. So you can choose anything. If you choose Lakshmi, if you choose wealth, we call it Lakshmi. If you choose knowledge, we call it Saraswati. If you choose strength, we call it Hanuman. If you choose, you can choose anything in this world. Absolutely anything. That's just a right you were born with. Now, 9 out of 10 people will choose to follow something material. But by material, it only means you want something from the world. When I say 9 out of 10, it actually means 99.999 recurring will choose something from the world. This is a fact of life. And the wise Indian sages of the past realized that that is what human beings will choose. You can stand there and explain everything you want about God, but people will still want to choose something from the world. It could be my husband's well-being, my child's well-being. It could even be noble things like I want independence for India, or I want to eradicate world poverty, whatever it is. Human beings will tend to choose something from the world. And if they do choose something from the world, then how are they ever going to achieve Ananya Chinta of God? Problem, right? Same problem which we will face. How will they ever achieve? So these wise sages, they came up with a brilliant plan. And that plan worked so well that India till today, thousands of years after those rishis are no more, still continues to be the cradle of spirituality. How much easier it is to explain this subject to Indians than it is to anyone else. And you know why? You know what that plan was? They thought instead of telling people to think of God, let us put God wherever they think. So came about the millions of Hindu gods. So you think about wealth, then let's say you're thinking about Lakshmi. You're thinking about strength, then let's say you're thinking about Hanuman. And like that, they put God everywhere. So every aspect of Indian life became divine. Other gods include only Hindu gods or gods from other faiths. Listen to the whole explanation, then ask if you're still not clear. Remember, what do other gods represent? Does anyone know what does other gods mean?
Finite goals.
Finite goals. So where does the question of Hindu gods or other faiths come? Doesn't even come. Listen carefully. You know, we can't listen because we are already full of interpretations. Something is already there in our mind that this means this. So listen carefully. Other gods means limited goals, means anything other than the self. So it includes everything other than the self. People, we differentiate between religions. We feel, oh, there is Allah and there is Christ, or there's God in heaven, there's Allah, there is Ahura Mazda, there is Buddha, there are so many things we have given. Please understand that they are all synonyms for the self. And in every religion, their ultimate God means the self. And all their prophets said that I am telling you the knowledge of the self. There are no other gods in other religions. It is all the same gods. It is the same human beings. All human beings have only two choices in life. They can either pursue the self, which they can call Allah or Vishnu or Father in Heaven or Shiva or Brahman or X. It doesn't matter. That is one choice. Pursue the self. That's transcendental reality. If you're a jnani, you don't like any of these. You like to say transcendental reality. Okay, you can pursue that, or you can pursue something of the world. So whether you're a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian, you go and approach your religion with the intent of getting something. In India, we have categorized it. So you go to this god for this, you go to that god for that. You call that thing itself Lakshmi. You call that thing itself Saraswati. So what these wise sages did is they put this god everywhere in Indian life, so that a human being in this country was not capable of not thinking of God. So the trees were God, the animals were God, the monkey God, and everything was God. Even diseases were God. They said Devi Ai. Everything was God. Then even events in life were God. Like in the child's thing, they write the word Akshara. Akshara means on the tongue. I don't know if you all are familiar with this, but when the child is born and he's about to, before speaking, they write on his tongue. Represents Akshara, which is the imperishable. The 7th month is a prayer. Morning you get up, you have to pray. Night you go to sleep, you have to pray. You eat your meal, you have to pray. I mean, like, you get married is a prayer. There is nothing in this country you can do. You enter a house, it's a prayer. Or you die also, it's a prayer. If any Hindu sees a dead body also, he says a prayer. Like, is there anything that you don't have to pray in this country? Everything is a prayer. So the consequence is, no matter what you think of, you will think of God in this country. You can't escape it. Before starting a journey, you have to pray. Is there any time in this Hindu's life where you don't have to pray? All the time. And if at all you escape some prayer, then something is God. Again, you have to bow your head. Then who are the people you're meeting? Even putting a tilaka. Why do you put a tilaka? Because in the custom, you had to put a tilak after your puja. So that therefore, every time you see somebody in this country, they are wearing the tilaka, which reminds you of the puja they did, which reminds you of the puja you did. And you remind each other of the self, of the God, of the divinity. So everything in this country was converted into prayer. Even namaste is a prayer. It shows how the one palm supports the 5 fingers. So too, the one Atman supports our 5 koshas. When you put these 2 palms together and form namaste, it says that we two are one. Because the same Atman enlivening your panchakoshas and the same Atman enlivening my panchakoshas. So in this country, you just cannot escape God.
Janki ji, there is silence.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Now, from when was there silence? What did you last hear?
Janki ji, namaste. You finished the whole namaste.
Oh, okay, you heard namaste. All right. Okay, so is it clear how every aspect of Indian life was converted to divinity? Okay, clear. So now, when he says those who worship other gods, what does it mean?
Limited goals.
It means limited goals. It means when you pursue anything other than the self. Okay, so see what he's saying. He's saying, Ye api anya devataha bhaktaha, those who are the bhaktas of anya devata, yajante shraddhayanvitaha, but they are worshipping it with shraddha. Means they are not random. Whatever in the world you have wanted, you have worked for that thing. You wanted it enough that you actually did something about it. That's with shraddha. You will do it. You will continue to do it until you obtain that thing, whatever that thing be. Tepi mameva yajante kaunteya. They also are worshipping me. Now, do you understand what that means? Even if you choose to pursue something in the world other than the self, what you're really pursuing is the self, because what you're really pursuing is happiness. And the self is the abode of ultimate happiness. So though you claim to be pursuing Lakshmi or Saraswati or anything, though you claim to be pursuing wealth or knowledge or taking care of your husband or whatever in the world you claim, you're actually only looking for happiness in and through all of it. And since the self is the only place where you're going to find that happiness, he says, no matter what you are pursuing, you're really only pursuing me. But you're doing it avidhi purvakam. Vidhi is the proper way of doing things, the proper ritual for doing it, the proper manner in which you do it. Everything has to be done in a proper manner. Otherwise what will happen? You won't get the result you want, right? So if you do a scientific experiment, but you don't do it in the proper way, then you won't get the result. If you whatever, you do dhanam, but you don't do it in the proper way, you won't get the result. You do tyaga, but you don't do it in the proper way, then you won't get the result. So what is he saying? He's saying no matter what you are pursuing in the world, you're really pursuing the self, but you're doing it avidhi purvakam. You're not doing it in the right way. And the consequences, you will not get the result you're looking for. And what is the result everybody is looking for?
Everlasting
Complete
happiness.
happiness.
Complete happiness. You won't get it. So it's a very beautiful verse, often misinterpreted and creating confusion amongst Hindus, among different religions. But it's such a beautiful and poetical way of saying something that really makes you think. Those who worship other gods, those devotees of other gods, that means you are now pursuing something other than the self. Shraddhaya. Shraddhaya means with Shraddha. They also, Mam Eva, Yajanti. They are also worshipping me alone. Remember, no matter how badly a person is behaving, no matter what is going on, no matter how much screaming and shouting and killing, why is he doing all that? He's doing it only to be happy. But he's doing it avidhi purvakam. He's not doing it in the right manner. And the consequences that he does not attain to that happiness, to any happiness for that matter. So, even in the world, there are two kinds of people. Those who do random activities based on their likes and dislikes, and those who actually pursue a goal. They are more intellect driven. They don't just do random activities. But whichever category you are in, if you don't do it the right way, then we don't attain to that ultimate and eternal happiness. Is that clear? Is this verse clear? Anybody? Okay. Anybody has any doubts on this verse? Okay, no issues.
I have one, Janki ji.
Thank you.
We said that unless you do few activities in the right way, right vidhi, you won't get the result. But all along we are told that we should do activities without hoping, without expecting any result. So I find some kind of contradiction. Like
Okay.
Danam, you said Danam, and one more example you gave, unless you do
Tyaga.
Danam or one more thing in the right way, you will not get the result. But as I said, we are not supposed to, expect for the result.
I'm very, very happy you asked this question, because this is often a confusion people have, and that is why we have the theory of the three gunas. It was given to explain this confusion. For a person, in fact, yes, yesterday's class, we didn't get to tamasic action. For a person who doesn't care about consequences, this is called tamasic action. The person who's longing for the consequence of the action is a rajasic person. The person who knows how to take a right action, that's the sattvic action. When you take the right action, how can you not get the result? You have to get it. By the law of cause and effect, you have to get it. There is no way you can put your hand into fire and it won't burn. So when you have taken the action, allow the cause and effect to function. You don't try to interfere with that. That is called sattvic action. So when you don't care about consequences, this is called negligence. And it is a very commonly adopted thing in the spiritual path. People become negligent. But that is not what is being recommended. You're not to be negligent. You have to take the right action. So we have two kinds of people. Tamasic are negligent in action. Rajasic are like longing for the fruit of action. Sattvic do the right action, knowing where is the fruit going to go. It has to come. If I study, how can I not do well in my exam? Okay, got it?
Yep.
All right, so then that's it for today. We'll meet again next week.